What's up guys, this is ShadowWolf810 and today I've got my tutorial for how to fly jets in Battlefield 3. So let's get right into this guys. First of all, you need to know how to actually get into a jet. So you're going to want to wait in the spawn menu, watch the map, and wait for that little jerking motion of the map, and as soon as that happens, you know the jet's going to spawn. So there it is again, a little bit closer. Keep your cursor on the bottommost option for you to spawn on, and then as soon as you see that little jerk, just down an A, and you will get into the jet most times. So don't try to get in on foot, because if somebody's doing this technique, they're definitely going to beat you. Keep in mind that jets spawn every 45 seconds, so as soon as your jet explodes, it's going to be 45 seconds until it respawns, so you can keep a stopwatch next to you or something if you really felt like it. But yeah, there you go. So here are a couple perfect takeoffs for you, air quotes that you didn't see. If you are starting off the beginning of a match, you're going to want to use your heat seekers first, because you're going to be establishing what type of equipment the other team has. So as you can see right here, this guy isn't going to have any flares, so there's no point in me being very cautious and, you know, using my minigun first and then blah 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 if he doesn't have any flares to protect against rockets. So keep that in mind. Now if you're starting off mid game, or you know, you got killed and you respawn, you're always going to want to look right to your teammate, because odds are there's either going to be a jet in front of him or a jet behind him that you could assist him with in killing, and that way your teammate won't die, and then you won't be the one against two other jets. If you're playing Conquest, that is, there's two jets in Conquest, so play that if you're trying to get the jet. There's a lot more chances of you actually getting into a jet if you do that. So next thing is that rockets don't always work perfectly, so two will not usually kill an enemy. So when you're fighting in a jet, you're going to want to start off with your minigun. First of all, that's going to give you an element of surprise if the person doesn't know you're behind them. Then when you start shooting them with a minigun, it's going to surprise them. If you are trying to lock on with a rocket, they're going to hear the lock-on noise. So start off with your minigun. Once they know you're there, then use your rockets. If the rockets hit, then finish them up with your minigun. Actually, as soon as you finish shooting the rockets, immediately switch to your minigun, because you're going to have a time in between the rockets reloading anyway that you can't do anything. So you might as well be using your minigun during that time. So when you're using the minigun, make sure you lead your shots, and if you can't perfectly lead them all the time, here's what I do. I make small jerking motions in front of them, so not a smooth motion, but basically what you can do is aim a little bit in front of them and then shoot and hold down the trigger for a little bit, and hopefully they will fly into your bullets if you aimed correctly. So you can keep doing that if you can't perfectly aim at them, and make sure you don't do a entire clip of it. Fire in controlled bursts, like 10 to 20 bullets, because you have unlimited ammo for the minigun, but it will overheat just like any turret will. So keep that in mind. You don't want to overheat it and be, you know, out of commission for like 10 seconds or however long the actual heating whatever time is. So okay, next thing, always completely destroy jets. First of all, you're already behind them, and if you're following them, you might as well keep the, you know, or get the extra 150 points or so for killing the person and the jet fully. So as soon as your jet gets disabled, though, you're going to want to instantly point it to the ground and bail out. Bail out, because if you get killed while it's in there, the other person's going to get a lot more points than if they just disable your jet. And when you point it at the ground, that means it's going to plow into the ground a lot faster than if you had aimed it, say, straight up and did that. So then that way your jet will respawn quicker and you'll be able to get right back into it. Next, we're going to talk about turning. Turning is probably one of the most important things for the jets, and something you definitely need to understand. So there's two different types of turns. You've got the brake turn and the afterburner turn. Now these work going in any direction, so if you're going like straight up in the air or straight down or just normal turns, it's the same principle everywhere. So doing a brake turn is done by hitting the left trigger when you're using the default controls. I don't know if that changes for other controls, but default is going to be left trigger, and it's going to give you a very high radius, or a very low radius turn, which is a very sharp turn. The downside to this is that your jet's going to be braking, so it's slowing down, and this can make you vulnerable to other people watching you because you're going a lot slower. So you're going to want to use these if somebody is right behind you, because what's going to happen is you're going to do a brake turn and they're not going to be able to compensate for that, because they're going to be possibly going too fast. You got to remember that when you're flying and you're being locked onto, that you control the fight, you know, and if you can do maneuvers that the other person can't match, then you're more than likely going to come out of the situation on top and win. So you're going to want to use your brake turns if somebody's also really far away from you, because what's going to happen is you're going to be able to turn all the way around before they can really do anything, and then you can kick on your afterburners and go toward them like you're playing chicken. And when you're using your afterburners, that's going to obviously make you go faster, which is going to cut down the amount of time that you're facing head on, and that's going to give the other person less time to lock onto you or to shoot you with a minigun or do whatever. So now for afterburner turns, they're not as useful. They're not very useful when you're being chased, because when you're being chased, it's pretty simple to counteract an afterburner turn with a brake turn. But if you're chasing somebody and they brake turn and you weren't prepared for it, then what you're going to want to do is use your afterburner, or at least accelerate, and what that's going to do is swing the front of your jet out quicker, and that's going to help you get pointed back in their direction a lot faster than if you, let's say, brake turned or something. So that's when you're going to want to use your afterburners. And another tip that you can have is when you're just going across the map, you're going to want to fly in straight lines over the map, and that's going to give you a good line of sight to basically anything in the map, and you can afterburner after you get over the map until you get close to the out of bounds, and then turn back and then look over the entire map, see if there's a helicopter or something you want to take out, and then you can go from there. So that's a good little tip. Next thing, if you're being locked on by something other than a jet, it's a good idea to afterburner slightly up a little bit and just straight away, because that's going to get you out of the range of their targeting system as quickly as possible. If you're being locked onto by a helicopter, you're going to want to go up more than away, because it's harder for a helicopter to aim up just because of the way they fly, so keep that in mind. Another good tip when you're trying to break a lock is fly close to the ground, and it's very difficult to see you when you're flying close to the ground, at least more difficult than spotting a dot in the sky. And the next thing is if you're flying toward a mountain, try to break away from the mountain as late as possible, because odds are the person following you is not going to be paying attention to the surroundings, and so they will have a higher chance of crashing into the mountain if you break off of it as soon as possible, or as late as possible, I mean. So keep that in mind. Next thing is we're going to talk about some equipment to use. Now, once you get it leveled all the way up, what I like to use is the air radar, heat seekers, and infrared, but until then you're going to have to use stealth heat seekers and infrared. And the reason I use those, basically the air radar helps point out people, and when you're in a dogfight it can show you their direction so you don't accidentally turn the wrong way if you don't know which way they went, and so that's very helpful. But the stealth is pretty useful, especially if you don't have the air radar. So other than that, there's the beam scanner. It's okay. Basically you just want to use that if the other team's really bad, and if your team is spotting people and you've got a good other teammate there, because that's going to help you lock on a lot quicker, and basically that's just gonna help you get more kills a lot quicker. So other than that, guys, just keep trying, because the jets can be very frustrating when you're first starting out, but eventually you'll be able to come up with your own strategies and maneuvers when you're so good that you can make up your own stuff. But it's gonna all be based off these basic principles that I'm telling you right now. So be sure to leave a like rating if this tutorial has helped you understand jets better. Leave a comment if you would like me to make a helicopter tutorial, and there's also going to be an annotation on the screen right now to a full jet gameplay that you can go and watch and see all of these tips come together. I actually managed 9 kills with the jet and only 1 death, so if you're interested in seeing that and you're serious about learning how to use the jet, I'd recommend going and watching that if you've got some free time. But other than that, guys, thank you for watching. I can't believe I got all that in one video. So anyway, thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you later.